What if I told you that I am in no way, shape, or form patriotic in the sense of patriotism? However, I find these acts of blatant disrespect for the American culture, for America, when it comes to these individuals protesting ICE, I find it to be absolutely disgusting. What we see right here is a Spanish, a Latino who is singing the American national anthem in Spanish. And she did so at the disregard of being told by the Dodgers to not sing it in Spanish. Allow this video to continue, and I'll break down my position and why I would say that I'm not patriotic. However, I am respectful. Let's get it in.
Singer Neza is speaking out after singing the national anthem at Dodger Stadium in Spanish. She says the team told her not to. This happened before yesterday's game against the Giants. She said on Instagram that she's, quote, so proud that she sang the anthem in Spanish to stand with immigrants affected by the ICE raids. We have reached out to the Dodgers for comment, but have not heard back.
So she says that she is so proud to sing the national anthem in Spanish, standing with those who broke the law, crossing the border illegally. This is the level of disrespect that these individuals have for America. It is not about a race. It is about any individual who has broken the law, crossed the border illegally. That is a crime. However, these individuals seem to think that the government is doing something illegally by removing those who broke the law. And again, I'm not a backer of police in that sense. I did time in prison because of the selling of dope. I did the crime. I had to do the time. And I've never been one to think and say that this government is free of malice and flaw. I know better. I'm a descendant of slaves, so I know the evil that this government has done. However, notwithstanding all that I know, I do respect the fact that I live in this country. I do respect the fact that I do have the greatest opportunity to make the most out of myself within this country, even though it is a flawed and it is a country that has many flaws and has many things that I am aggrieved by. However, to disrespect the country in the way these individuals who are supporting illegal immigrants in their fight to stay in the country is totally disrespectful, totally against what is acceptable. And then you have Black individuals, not many, who still trying to push this narrative that somehow that the government going after those who cross the border illegally is an affront to Black people because we are next. We got to stop playing this victim card. We got to stop with the foolishness. Yes, is there injustice? Yes. Is there racism? Yes. All these things exist, but not to the degree that it existed from when my mother was growing up, and she is still alive in the Jim Crow era, and my grandparents, and so on and so forth, and those Black Americans who are in their 80s and 90s experience. It is nothing to that degree. Most of the ills that are affecting the Black community are self-inflicted right now. It is a behavior problem. It is a habit problem. It is a value, interest, and principle problem that Blacks are suffering from, those who remain stuck. They have embraced the lowest level of human behavior and glorified it. And many individuals are capitalizing off this degenerate behavior when they promote these rap songs, especially amongst the females, where it's all about sex at the lowest level, at the animalistic level. So allow us to jump into this next video that I'm going to pull up right here. It's a video where this individual, Dr. Rashard Ritchie, I believe this is the individual that we're listening to, and he sounds very reminiscent of the race hustlers that's on the left when you come to Al Sharpton, when you come to Roland Martin, when you come to all these pundits on the left-leaning media stations. He acts as if the Latinos who use the N-word towards the officer is somehow not a norm. I say that it is normal for those light-skinned Latinos, Mexicans, wherever country they come from in South America, to discriminate against their own Latino brothers who happen to be black. So this is not a one-off, as he was trying to suggest. He and these other race hustlers want to blame everything on Donald Trump. I have my issues with some of the things that Donald Trump has done. But to blame and try to point the finger at Donald Trump for doing what those of us who voted for Donald Trump to do, remove the illegal immigrants from the country, to secure the border, to get men out of women's sports, to fix the economy, to stay out of wars. He's not doing a good job of staying out of wars or ending wars. Of course, he's back in Israel, and I totally disagree with him on that front. However, those other three were my primary focus. And I'm going to tie this up with this. Illegal immigration hurts those individuals who are at the bottom of the economic spectrum more than anyone else. And whether you want to admit it or not, blacks are collectively at the bottom of the economic spectrum. So you're going to be affected the most. And these individuals who are your politicians, who are your talking heads, who have money, they don't really care about you because they continue to push this narrative that the illegals who entered the country should stay. This will drive your wages down, and they're going to replace you, because if you want to be straightforward, many of those individuals are indeed those who are crossed illegally but are hard workers, are indeed willing to bust their tail to make it happen, and they're going to make it happen. While many of you in the black community who are at the lower economic realm of things, you feel entitled. Jobs, you're too good for jobs. I even heard Jasmine Crash Out Crockett say something like that. Well, blacks, you know, you're not going to do this work, so stop playing, like saying it in a joke. No, it's not a joke that you feel entitled, that you are not willing to bust your tail to make it happen, to get yourself and elevate yourself above the standards that you are. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to give you anything. You must understand that. You're not getting reparation. And I do believe reparations are due, but you're not getting it. You're not going to get it. It's not happening. So you better buckle down and start to do those things that's going to change your life. Now allow me to listen to this individual right here. And again, I'm just totally disappointed that this individual would say the things that he said or will say and try to blame, again, Trump for what's going on in LA, Trump for what's going on in the black community, Trump for these Latinos calling this police officer the N-word. Allow us to listen to this clown.
Protest. 2 Latino protesters call a black cop the N-word during the LA protest. We can't win like that. Put up the picture full mass.
What you mean we can't win like that? Like I said before, blacks are not even united amongst themselves, and yet these individuals still want to push this narrative as if we should be united with Latinos. It would be nice if we could be united with everyone. And first of all, ourselves. But we're not even united amongst ourselves. So unity with any other group is a farce. And you pushing that narrative is ridiculous. Allow us to continue.
This has to be checked, dealt with, and if not, the narrative will permeate that the actions of the few indicate the actions of the many.
It is not the actions of a few. Like I said before, I dated a Latino woman. I know for a fact, and she was light-skinned, but I'm not saying she was discriminatory against blacks, but I had long conversations with her about those type of things. And those individuals who are black in Mexico and in any of those Southern American countries, they are discriminated against the lighter skin Latinos. It is what it is. It's a fact. And this is the case throughout the world. So him acting as if it's part of a few, no, you're misrepresenting the facts, individual. You're misrepresenting. And I hate to have to go at my brothers like this and my sisters like this, but I have to, because they are selling a narrative that is not beneficial for growth and development, especially would not benefit blacks moving forward in general, and does not benefit this nation as a whole. Allow us to continue.
And they do not. A video of Latino protesters in LA peppering a black cop with racist slurs. This is being used to discourage unity.
There is no unity. I get sick and tired of this individual trying, or these individuals trying to push this farce of a narrative. There is no unity. There is no unity among black people. So how can you unite with others if you're not even unified amongst yourself? They would never explain that to you. All they would do is blame Trump, the Republicans, etc. And no, I'm not a Republican. I would never be a conservative. I would never be a Democrat. I would never be a liberal. I would never be. I am an independent thinker. If I find something on either side that I agree with, I roll with that. There's very little on the left that I agree with at this point in time. They represent an agenda that is totally against, diametrically opposed to what it is that I align with. Allow him to continue.
Between the two communities as protesters continue to take the streets in opposition to an actual evil, the Trump administration.
And he wants to frame the Trump administration as an actual evil. What about the Biden administration? What about Joe Biden's history? What about the fact that Joe Biden was the one that pushed across the 94 crime bill that made the sentencing of black men 100 times more detrimental, worse off, greater punishment than the similar use of cocaine, which was really a white person drug in the late 80s, early 90s, where the offense of selling that drug was 100 times less, and the offense of selling crack cocaine was 100 times more, because that was a drug that was mainly sold by black people and mainly used by black people. I am not justifying the selling of the drugs. I sold it. That's why I did the time. But the crime bill that he pushed for, they knew exactly what they were doing. And when Trump came in office, the first term, he was instrumental in getting the First Step Act passed that allowed many blacks and many individuals who had nonviolent crimes but was in prison for a long time because of the 94 crime bill to become eligible to be free. They were not violent criminals. They was sentenced and overpunished because of the racist law that Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, and the Democrats pushed forth. So again, who represents the true evil? These individuals are ridiculous. That's why I don't deal with them. All right, guys. So I'm going to allow that to end. And If you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, I have another channel called Monte's Fitness. On that channel, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I drop videos where you can follow along with the workouts that I am presenting with my clients, as well as Tuesdays and Thursdays. I drop videos that are dealing strictly with wellness concepts, dealing with autoimmune disease, dealing with insulin resistance, dealing with type 2 diabetes, dealing with anxiety, panic attacks, vitamin, minerals, hormonal levels, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, you name it, we deal with it, and we break down the information and give you solutions. Again, thank you for joining. Have a beautiful day. Sending you peace and always love. Peace.